Hey, what's going on YouTube? Brian here with Blackburn in Tech. All right, so if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and click the like, subscribe, hit the bell if you want. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and at least click that subscribe button. It does help our channel, and it does help YouTube realize the people actually want to see this kind of content. So enough of the whole YouTube normal, hey, this is what we're doing kind of thing. Let's talk about firmware upgrades and what are they, how do we do them kind of thing. Why do we want to do them? So a firmware upgrade is similar to doing an upgrade on your OS. And why would we want to do that? Typically to increase new performance, see new features, security fixes is the most common reasons for doing this upgrade. Now, that being said, sometimes things can go astray if you try to upgrade wrong. Like if you go from an very old version, like say if you go from Windows XP to Windows 10, it might be a little bit different, or Windows 11 now. In the firewall sense, it's still the same thing. So we kind of have to know when and where to upgrade. It's always best to upgrade if you can. Just make sure that it's stable in your environment. If you have a test environment, it's the better option there to upgrade your test environment. If you do need to roll back, not really great, but it can be done. So let's go ahead and join me over on my computer, and let's go ahead and take a look at this. Okay, from here, we're looking at the upgrade path table tool that they have. And I can include this in there, or you can just do a simple Google search at this link up here. Let me get my mouse out of the way. This tool is actually very useful. So if you bought a firewall off the internet and you need to, and you find out what version it's on, you're like, okay, well, this thing's really old and I need to upgrade it. So basically you'd come down here and select what type you have. So if you do have like a 40F like we have in this lab, and then you can say what version is it currently on. Say we are on 6.4.5, and I want to go to 7.0 because I know that that's the one that is somewhat stable, is what I wanted to be on right now. So if I click on this, it's going to tell me if I'm on 6.4.5, I can go directly to 7.0. If I wasn't, then there was other ones, like maybe I was on something earlier. Maybe I'm down here. And I want to go to 7.0. It's saying that you should go ahead and you're on here. You'll want to go down to here, upgrade, and then to upgrade to here, and then upgrade to 7.0. The reason why this is because some of the internal syntax might have changed, and some of it might not be exactly on how the firewall knows how to do it. So if we upgrade directly to 7.0, say we was on that 6.0.11, and we upgrade to 7.0, chances are it's going to break some things. But upgrading a firewall is very simple. If you don't already have a FortiCloud account, you can always go to your favorite search engine, and if your keyboard doesn't get stuck, you can come over here to your favorite search engine and create an account here, and it'll be under firmware and update from here, and just look for your model. I already have mine pre-installed. Let me see if I have that over here. Pull this over on the screen. So I already have this installed for 7.0. So from our current version, we can go directly to this one. And let's go ahead and just double check that. So I'm going to log in. So currently we are on 6.4.6. So if we come over to this test tool, 6.4.6, and I want to go to 7.0, and we see there's later versions, and we can always check to see if we want to upgrade to it later, but we're just going to go here. So from 6.4.6 to 7.0 is a good thing. It will allow us to do this, so there's nothing in between here, so it's telling us we probably should do that. So to do it, it's actually pretty easy. We'll come under System, Firmware, and if you are connected to a FortiCloud account, or if you have this in your licensing, it should show up here under your FortiGuard firmware. That we don't currently have this box set up that way, and that's okay. But then we can also verify what our version we're on right here as well. GA stands for general availability, so if you see anything else, you probably don't want to be on that if this is a production firewall. So we're going to click on this file, and we're going to click open. And so it gives us a warning here, as you can see. So it can't verify that it's going the correct way. So it's giving us a warning, hey, you might want to make sure that this is a valid upgrade path you're taking before you try and push something you probably shouldn't do. So we already verified it over on this tab. So yes, we are all set. We click this button. It's going to ask you one more time. Mind you, this is something you should do. You'll do during a scheduled maintenance window, because it will make your connection go down. And one thing I always like to do is open up a command prompt, and I like to ping my firewall. Oh, 72.16.5.7. Okay, so I know it's responding to pings, and then I'll tack on this -T, and this is in a Windows command environment, so basically it's going to continuously ping. So I'm going to come over here and click continue. And we still have pings. I do have this one set up as a console cable is currently plugged into this firewall. So we'll see that here in just a sec. But so right now it's verifying over on the firewall. So it's validating, making sure that that's a legit thing before we try to push it. So it's going to have to reboot. It's going to be applying it. So typically you won't have a console cable already plugged in to your firewall, but I have one just for this lab, so we can see what it's going to do. So it should be rebooting, and we'll see what it does here in just a second. I'm not going to edit this one. I want you guys to see on about how long it takes, on how long this actually is. Most of the time it doesn't take very long. As you can see, firmware upgrade in progress. If you see any errors here, if you watched our video on resetting the admin password, that's how this is currently set up. And I should be expecting those pings to be failing. Oops. So there's no internet connectivity. This isn't a high availability unit. It's just a single firewall. So it's upgrading from that previous version to the 7.0 version. And if there's any issues here, we'll see it. Like I said, typically you won't have a console cable plugged in unless you're just doing it for just to make sure kind of thing. So now it's rebooting. It's basically going through its normal boot process. Same as like when your computer boots up. So that's one reason why I typically like to have the pings going, because I don't have a console cable plugged into it constantly. So when I see the pings return, then I know my firewall is back online. Okay, so the firewall's back online yet, but it hasn't started responding to the network yet, because you can look over here and see it's still shown as unreachable. But we should start seeing those pings coming back up shortly. There we go. So when you see that, that's how you know that that's the pings are actually coming and working. So I'm gonna go back over to our web browser, and we can see it looks kind of different. It has that new login look. And it wants us to specify a host name. We'll go ahead and do that and say, yeah, go ahead and use that one, and then you can watch their introductory video. But we are now on 7.0 firmware on this firewall. In upgrading firmware, it's just that easy. If there's ever any complications, there's an option to revert it back. It's a little bit more troubleshooting, but it's not terrible. But yeah, that's how we go ahead and upgrade the firmware. Well, I hope this has been informative for you guys. I appreciate you for viewing. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and click that like button, subscribe button. Like I said, it helps YouTube verify that we're actually creating content that you want to see. And ultimately, if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. Be more than happy to try and answer anything I can, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. I appreciate everything, and thank you guys. Have a wonderful day.